Welcome back to Mass Appeal. Have you ever thought about being someone like this? I imagine this gentleman is thinking about and executing starting his own business. But how do you decide if business ownership is right for you and if you want to look like that gentleman right here? We're back with business and career coach Angela Lussier. You're going to tell us, because some people, I know I'm not cut out to own my own business. I don't have the brain for it. But there's ways that you can tell. And these are questions that you have to ask yourself. The first one is, do you have discipline?
Yeah, because there's more than just, do I have a product or service that a customer will buy? It goes back to just how well you are at executing projects you say you want to start. So how often do you finish something you start?
Not often.
And so if that's the case, that's a really important question to ask yourself, so that you know that if you go out there and say, I'm going to build this thing and I've got all this motivation and momentum, and then when it gets hard, what's going to happen? Is it going to flop, or are you going to be able to keep going? Because at the end of the day, you're the only one there.
And the biggest jump too, I think, from giving up your normal job, the job that you've had for a while, you're giving up the 401k. You're giving up, in a lot of ways, the health care. You're giving up the fact that it's steady.
Yep.
So these are big questions that you have to answer. The number 2 big question, do you have problem-solving abilities?
Yeah, because there's no one standing over you saying, okay, here's what you're going to do next. Mm-hmm. So when it gets difficult, are you good at solving the problem and saying, okay, how can I deconstruct this? Have I ever had to deal with something like this before? Who can I go to who might have the answer to this question, rather than just throwing up your hands and saying, I don't know what to do, and quitting?
Because when you're doing this, you're throwing up your hands, you probably shouldn't own your own business. These are very difficult things that you need to be able to do well. The third one, you need to have commitment.
Yes.
Now, what do you mean by that?
So that means when things get difficult, or when you wake up in the morning and say, oh, I've got this whole schedule of things I'm going to get done, and then you sit down to do it, and you look around the room, you start looking out the window, and then you start going on Facebook, and before you know it, half the day is gone and you haven't gotten anything done. So how committed are you to your project, and how are you going to make sure things actually happen, rather than just kind of like hanging out until that moment hits you when it's perfect?
That's true. Your next tip, people need to know their amount of personal growth. How much personal growth do you need to have and want to have?
Well, a lot of things people try to run away from is being uncomfortable, which I
Mm-hmm.
get. I mean,
Yeah,
no one
it's a
really wants to
natural
be uncomfortable, but with discomfort comes growth. So when you're a business owner, you have to be able to grow with your business. And so if that means a big conference calls and says, hey, we want you to present on your topic, mm-hmm. and you're thinking, well, I'm not a public speaker. I don't want to, that sounds scary. Well, if you don't take those opportunities, you're missing out on opportunities for your business to grow. So you have to be able to put yourself out there and be uncomfortable in order for that to happen.
And it's scary, but yeah, no one got to the top by playing it safe. You have to go out of your comfort zone. You have to be scared. And then lastly, there's the personal growth. There's also professional growth you need to think about.
Yeah, so are you a natural life learner? Are you someone who looks for knowledge and ways to grow and build new skills? And if you're not, it might be difficult to start building your business, because you're not going to be looking for the answer to those problems. Mm-hmm. So if you find that there's a class on accounting or QuickBooks or something, you might want to go take that class. But if you're not inclined to, that makes it more difficult for those things to happen.
Well, I think that's a great point too, because people, whatever business you want to start, let's say you want to be a restaurateur. Yes, you could be the best chef in the world. You could understand how to wait tables, but you need to know how to do accounting. You need to know how to balance a budget and payroll. There's more to it than the part that you love about it.
Yeah, exactly. And knowing how to market yourself and how to sell yourself, these are skills that you could continue learning every day for the rest of your business's life and still not know enough about it. But you have to be open to taking those chances and finding out new things.
So Angela, last week we discussed our strengths and our weaknesses. Today we talked about if you want to stay at your current job or start on your own. What are we going to be doing next week?
Resumes.
Resumes.
Yeah, there are huge mistakes people make on their resumes every day, and they wonder why they don't get callbacks. So we're going to talk about the mistakes people make and how to fix those, because they're not that difficult. They're just minor tweaks.
All right, we will do that. So what you need to do is go on to mymassappeal.com if you want to get all of this information and so much more.